Okay.
Oftentimes are radical because they don't want to see more crime. The radicals on the left are the one in a vacuum or someone at home. I'm talking about the most important people in our political discourse, framing most button in the top right corner.
I think they changed.
All right. So we're gonna sit here. We're gonna have a reaction to this ABBA and Preach, or I guess just ABBA versus Stevie Knight on Charlie Kirk. I'm going to weigh in as things go on, but for the most part, we're just gonna hang out here. We're gonna play some Overwatch, and we're gonna see what is going on between these two guys talking.
The way this shit works.
Okay, got it, got it. All right.
Hey man, before anything, dog, real shit, bro. Appreciate you letting me tap in, man.
No,
Cause we don't talk like that, but you know what I'm saying. We've talked a few times behind the scenes and shit, bro. And I reached out, and you said run it. You know what I mean? So
yeah.
that's real. You were a real one for that.
Hey, not a problem, man. I know in the spirit of everything that's happened, the man
I'm
likes
bagging up.
hits, and I feel as though you wanted to discuss some of this stuff. So I know you covered our video in regards to Charlie Kirk.
You a
And
real
I
one for that.
understand,
He said,
I
"Hey."
understand a lot of the stuff I say, and I felt like you had some disagreements, so I'm always down for that. I felt like just to keep everything very, very productive, the best way we can do it is that you kind of just lay out some of the stuff that you felt like we did wrong with our video or some of our response, and then from there we can, I
Now, I will say this: I haven't watched Alan Preach's video about Charlie Kirk, and I haven't watched Stevie Knight's response. But I respect Abba. I think that he has really good insight whenever he decides to speak on these like social political issues. So I'm always going to tune in to the things that he has to say. So I saw this pop up on my feed, and I just wanted to tune in just to see what was going on.
I can respond to any of that, and then I'll do the same thing in regards to the video you did covering us. For everyone watching at home, let me know if you guys can hear me clearly. Just before we kind of get everything popping, let me know if the audio is okay on the mic. If you guys can hear Stevie. Stevie, can you just say a few words?
What up? What up? What's happening? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
All right. Somebody said turn my mic up, so I'll stand a little bit closer to it, and I think what I could also do over here is I could probably up the volume. Yeah, listen, I'm gonna just hold it a little bit closer. Let me know if that helps you guys at home.
I just think it's so funny that ABBA is like obviously rich. He's been doing this for a very long time. And if not quote unquote rich, he's very successful at this. And like they just struggle stream and struggle record all the time. They had like a month period where they had like producers and everything, and they were like doing like a H3 style show, and then they just stopped. They just went back to the creaky floors. But hey, listen, I fucks with it. You gotta make do with what you have, and they've just continued to do that all the way through, and I'll respect it continuously. I just wanted to say something because I see this crazy background that ABBA has going on right now.
Is the mic better now? All right, cool. I'm gonna just hold it like this. Fuck it. Stand up. So, Steve, before we even start, is there anything you want to say before we get popping?
Uh, no, not right this moment to you, man. But I know people are probably expecting some viral, goddamn heated, toxic ass debate, and that's not what I here for, man. Like the hopes was to us to get together, have a productive conversation from two commonsensical individuals in regards to such of a viral, trendy, important
Two black men talking about Charlie Kirk. Let's go.
moment. So
Yeah,
put
yeah,
that out there.
yeah. Listen, bro, you got any degrees that you lying about?
All of them, bro.
Don't worry. This is not a Sadia Khan situation. So we just gonna chat.
I ain't even talking about that. I'm talking about, people just like to see degenerate, hostile, viral nonsense, bro. That's not what I'm here for.
Got you, got you.
Man.
Okay, so let's get started. So Stevie, you watched our video and you
Mm-hmm.
had some critiques for it. So yeah, let me know what you think we was getting wrong in regards to how
Um,
we handled this Charlie Kirk situation.
well, I want to keep what I felt was wrong towards the end, but leading up to that, just think it's differing in opinions, which is fine. That's what we're here for, man. But they, if I can recall correctly, the beginning of it, it was more like um, you were talking about how the right wants to, or we need to tone it down. I don't want to say we, right? It was more like focusing on the right versus the left. You know what I mean? And you felt a way about. I'm assuming what your intent was is focus on the right. Now we need to tone it down. And
And so before we go into this, just the way that this guy is talking right now, I already have the feeling that he's going to be an enormous right wing sweeper. But I just want to make it clear that it is 100% obvious to anyone that's paying attention that the right wing are the ones that really need to turn down the rhetoric. You can just watch Charlie Kirk's funeral. You can see what Stephen Miller said. You can see what Donald Trump said. You can just see these people, they're just saying it wide out in the open. You've got Tom Homan, who is currently having his crimes covered up by the Trump administration. There's just so much stuff that's
Hey
going
there.
on wide out in the
Weekdays,
open. So,
politics,
like, when people
living.
say this,
What do
you
you have in
already
mind?
know that they're just not paying attention to what's actually going on.
we're doing the same thing. We're doing the same thing that the left was doing, bro. And um, where I differ in opinion with you as far as this whole situation
This
is
is
that I
a
don't think
wonderful.
anything should be toned down
This
if
spot
we're
is perfectly
highlighting,
designed
if we're
to.
focusing on the right people. You know what I'm saying? I think
It's
that
go
the right
time.
versus left is being overhyped, which makes sense because we're divisive as hell in society, man. But the demons are demoning. You know what I mean? And regardless if it's right or left, I feel like these people need to be held accountable. We need to zero in on these individuals, and I don't think they toning down at all where we're at. Given the climate,
Okay.
Your female parents said,
and
knock those
I'm not
objectives
gonna
out.
say I felt some type of way at the beginning when we were focusing on like the emphasis of your video was to highlight Charlie, and then you were trying to compare it to other things that may have happened that were similar,
Sure.
and I think that's taking attention away from the elephant in the
Here's
room,
some.
which is Charlie Kirk situation, which we never had a
On this one.
situation like
Should.
this happen ever,
And
because of
go.
the social media and the fact that everyone was able to see it. You know what I'm saying? And that makes the situation a whole lot different than anything that's happened in the past as far as a murder of this magnitude. And it seems that you were minimizing the impact of what happened to Charlie.
Okay.
And
What?
and
Yeah, go ahead.
I'll keep rolling.
Give it
I'll let
another
you.
try.
No, no, go for it, go for it, go for it. If you're still on this one, I just didn't want to move from this topic, but
I don't want to roll out like 10 things and have you.
yeah. It's always better to go point by point. I think so.
Yeah, let me go one for one.
Yeah.
So, it felt like, from my end, it felt like it was a right versus left type of thing, and you know what I mean, from how you were describing it, right's doing this, the left doing this, and you're saying it's hypocritical of the right
Let's
to think
fucking
about the same
go.
things that the left is doing, and what the right is implying that we're doing is telling us that it shouldn't be
Look at
about that.
you,
It should be about
banging
these
out
isolated,
objectives.
the evil, the degenerate shit that's going on, and when we try to minimize.
Okay, so to be fair, what I'm gonna do right now is I'm gonna pause this. How far am I into the video? I'm about 13 minutes in. I want to go watch ABBA's original video and preach. Like I said, I'm probably going to agree with ABBA throughout this debate. Evan preach. Hodge twins reminded they aren't white. We love that. All right, so yeah, 13-minute video. Let's see what's
Charlie
going on.
Kirk. We didn't. We're what 7 days after
7 days.
Craig David. So. Oh, are you guys cracking jokes? Yeah, that's what we do. I don't. I think the easiest way to start this video, and I think the thing where most of us agree is that political violence should never be acceptable. The idea that you might have the most reprehensible views, the most disgusting things, you should have the right, and you should be safe enough to be able to espouse those views without losing your life. After his assassination,
True. One thing that we deal with a lot on the left is there's a lot of censorship for bad think or wrong think, whatever they call it these days. Um, I believe that Nazis should be able to go and speak at like colleges and things like that. I believe that communists should also be able to go and speak at colleges. I think that
My
both of
challenges
these
have
political ideologies are
I don't know who
completely
came up with this one,
detestable,
but get
but
ready to get
in
your mind on.
America, you should have the right to hold these political ideologies, regardless of how fucking stupid or retarded they might be.
My advice?
So,
Hit it.
just wanted to stop in there and interject.
The main thing I took away, most of what I've seen after the fact is folks trying to figure out whether or not this guy's right wing or left wing, so they can pit blame on the other side. And I've seen people call for violence. I've seen people have this like rhetoric of us versus them.
Good to fight back against evil. It is time for the righteous to prevail.
I know we don't have a lot of time. There's so many good speakers tonight. This is a battle between good and evil. I wish we could compromise, but you can't compromise with evil. You can't compromise with evil.
I've seen people be like, well, the other side is the one that does it. And I think all of that really defeats the purpose of trying to make the world more safe, right? Because we got here, I feel as though this was a long time coming. And what am I saying a long time? We've been here for a long time. There's been a lot of political crime, a lot of political killings over the last 8 to 7 years. Bombing of abortion clinics.
An Irvine man has been sentenced to 6 years in federal prison for the 2022 firebombing of a Planned Parenthood clinic.
Different politicians who've been attacked, either attempts or assassinations that were completed on both sides, be it Democrats or Republicans.
Sources telling ABC News that 2 Minnesota state lawmakers have been shot in what law enforcement officials say was a targeted incident.
There have been extremists and crazies who've gone out and murdered people on a semi-regular basis for the last 9 to 10 years that I've been looking at it and paying attention. Anybody who sits out there and goes, well, the lefties are the danger. In fact, this year I feel like you guys killed quite a few politicians for that matter. There's been Trumpers who've done that.
Over the past 24 hours, I've seen some in the media, some of the very same people who intentionally stoked murderous hatred against people like Charlie Kirk and Charlie Kirk specifically, now saying that we need to turn down the temperature, start having conversations. Well, Charlie tried to have conversations with you on the left.
And you killed him.
And you killed him for it.
And you killed
The
him
same way
for it.
some Trumpers decided to go kill those Minnesota senators. Right? They weren't out there advocating violence. They were at their homes, and this guy showed up to kill them and try to kill more of them. Doesn't mean you shouldn't tone down the rhetoric. But apparently Matt Walsh disagrees. Let's hear why.
You're killing us in our churches. You tried to kill our president. You killed one of our greatest advocates in Charlie Kirk. You have been openly cheering for and celebrating and encouraging and committing political violence for years. Antifa, BLM, you made a hero out of Luigi Mangione. And you celebrate Charlie's death even now. It's too late to turn the temperature down. This is not a time to hold hands. It's a time for justice. This is a time for good to fight back against evil. It is time for the righteous to prevail for the sake of our country.
It's time for the righteous to prevail.
The righteous to prevail.
Oh yeah, what
You
does
didn't
that even
know all
mean?
this shit that happened, and you said this is wrong, and then you advocate for this shit that happened.
The exact same shit.
Perpetrating the same thing.
Except you're just saying it.
It's never gonna stop. But it's a sports mentality.
Fair.
Are you fucking
Give it
kidding
another
me?
go.
And we'll do no wrong. Sometimes your click this shit plays. It happens. Acknowledge that. I'm bleeding red, I'm bleeding blue. That's really me. It's one of the reasons why I was not going to sports, because those people were the people who would bully me with that mentality. They were like, if you don't think like them, it's like, and then I was like, stay away from sports.
Nancy Pelosi's husband was attacked with hammers, and Donald Trump and his son were making fun of him after that attack.
And we'll stand up to crazy Nancy Pelosi, who ruined San Francisco. How's her husband doing, by the way? Anybody know?
Well, how about the fact that, a lot of the people who stormed the Capitol January 6th were calling for Mike Pence to be hung?
I'm telling you, if Pence caved, we're going to drag through the streets. You politicians are going to get drugged through the streets.
Hey, Mike Pence. Yeah, see? Yeah, listen, they're
90% the left.
I think that in the last 5 years or so, especially since BLM, it's been a 90% left-wing thing. But that doesn't mean that the 10% right-wing people are right either.
And it's like, well, crime statistics disagree with you, and it says most of the political violence in this is committed by the right.
yeah.
That's what the
But
stats.
they're
So
gonna.
for people to come out after the fact and just make it sound like it's one-sided is just bizarre to me. And then also people looking into the shooter and they're like, oh, I think he might have had a trans
Yeah,
girlfriend.
trans roommate. What does that have to do?
Bro. And in a time where people say rhetoric is the reason that violence has happened, the moment Charlie Kirk died, I saw Trump get on and he was just like, well, these radical left Marxists, so they're complaining about the fact that they call Nazis all the time. And what do they call everybody who's a radical left, Marxist, socialist, communist? It's like, okay, got it. Everybody does this kind of hyperbolic. If people don't like Charlie Kirk and want to acknowledge the fact that he had disgusting views, that's their right. And people try to cancel folks for that. I'm not with that at all. Okay, the guy did say some very disgusting things throughout his life. He said them very publicly, and people whitewashing him. I've heard people call him a good Christian boy. Maybe from your perspective, it's okay for people to have a different perspective. I certainly don't share the one where he's some good. I've heard him say some really so that's my personal opinion.
You had a daughter and she was 10 and she got raped. And she was going to give birth and she would, no wait, oh, and she was going to give birth and she was going to live.
Okay.
Would you want her to go through that and carry her baby?
That's awfully graphic.
It's no, but it's a real life scenario that happens to many people.
The answer is yes, the baby would be delivered.
Oh, okay, great. So
Do you think that there should be free school lunch for all children?
No.
Why?
Of course not, because parents should feed their kids, not the government.
What if they can't?
Let's go get a job.
A child?
You know, the parents should go get the job.
Yeah.
This is important. First of all, this is really...
I want children to eat.
Of course I do. Show me a single child in America going hungry. Doesn't exist. Number two, we have churches, we have food shelters, we have billions, and it does not exist. We have a child obesity problem, not a child starvation problem in this country.
I mean, Joe Biden is a bumbling, dementia-filled Alzheimer's, corrupt tyrant who should honestly be put in prison and or given the death penalty for his crimes against America.
I know we don't have a lot of time. There's so many good speakers tonight. This is a battle between good and evil. I wish we could compromise, but you can't compromise with evil. You can't compromise with evil.
I think the DOJ should immediately move to unseal all the Epstein documents in the Southern District of New York.
Yeah.
I think every file should be released to the public the same way as the JFK files.
Charlie Kirk got one call from the president, and this was his response.
Honestly, I'm done talking about Epstein for the time being. I'm going to trust my friends in the administration. I'm going to trust my friends in the government to do what needs to be done, solve it, balls in their hands.
People in this day and age cannot emotionally multitask. You know that two things can coexist at the same time? I cannot wish someone harm, but also not be sad for the harm that happens to them. I don't wish it on them, but I'm like, you don't mean that you're wishing someone's bad. You don't have to be celebrating and be like, I'm not gonna put my flag half-mast.
That was wild. Treating that dude like he was a national hero is crazy. I mean, veterans die every single day in the line of duty, and the president will not do a damn thing. But this guy gets shot, and then all of a sudden they doing all this hubbub. It's crazy.
That's what I'm saying. So, but things can. Yes, it is. It's not empathy. It's not compassion. There's this neutrality that is a possibility as well, especially when you're affected by the things that he's saying.
And you contributed. Like, if we're all honest, none of this is surprising because we've been inching towards this whole time. We've been here for a while. All this extreme rhetoric, all this, calling these people Nazi, calling these people Marxist, communist, radical, like all of this stuff.
Call these people basically not human.
Yes. How many YouTubers have I seen calling for a potential civil war, okay, because of what's happening? How many people have I seen even post-attack still carry on with the exact same good versus evil? Who do they think is good? Their side, obviously. Their side is only full of good people, and the other side is the evil side.
Okay.
So when you hear all...
I mean, this is pretty much my take on the entire thing is like, you guys can lionize Charlie Kirk if you want to. I'm never going to lionize Charlie Kirk. I think that he was a racist, homophobic, transphobic piece of shit. I don't even really give a fuck about gay people or trans people like that. But the stuff that Charlie Kirk said was just like especially like heinous and like dehumanizing to the point where it's like, even where I think that these are the people that have like kind of degraded the Democratic Party in a way. When I hear Charlie Kirk talk about him, it's just like, okay, bro, they're still people. Right? Like, I might disagree with the ideology. I might disagree with the fact that, like, they want to, have, like, drag queens come in and read, like, Story Hour or, like, whatever, XYZ. But at the end of the day, these are still people. And when you sit there and you talk about them like that and you dehumanize them like that, it doesn't make any sense at all. It's like, it's really fucked up. So okay, so let's go back to this Stevie video. Now that I've got the general tone for Abba's video, I already know that I'm most likely going to agree with Abba because he actually has the common sense idea of what's going on in this whole conversation about Charlie Kirk's life and death.
I believe the challenge is ready and rolling.
So let's see.
That don't like presidents for whatever the reason is, for the right to be complaining about focus. Well, I wanted to keep what I felt was wrong towards the end, important moment. So
Yeah. Listen, bro, you got any degrees that you want?
like the emphasis of the video was to highlight Charlie, and we were trying to, and the left is doing what the right is implying that we're doing, and to me, it shouldn't be about that. It should be about we isolate, the evil, the degenerate shit that's going on, and
Okay.
we try to minimize or.
So when he says the evil and the degenerate shit, he's just talking in nebulous terms. There's no real rhyme or reason about the thing that he's talking about. Like he's just saying the general right wing populist message of, oh, we're in a fight of good versus evil, we're in a spiritual battle. This guy is probably ultra religious, and so we're about to just hear a bunch of bullshit and cringe.
Bring up the comparison between Charlie Kirk and everything else. It minimizes the tragedy that everyone has witnessed and like the impact it had on everyone. Man. So I feel like it's deflecting.
I detect a lack of movement. Are you ill?
Charlie Kirk, his tragedy was important, but other things happened, and the right was doing the same thing. So it's kind of like, it is to me, it's minimizing, what happened.
Got you. So I think there's 2 points in there. One being the hyper focusing on right versus left. So you felt like we did that too much. And the second point is
Okay.
minimizing
We're gonna play some Overwatch.
Is that fair? Okay. So just to go to the first point, I did have that in my notes. I think in your video at around 2-minute mark, you said that I was minimizing Charlie Kirk's murder by comparing it to other political violences or like contextualizing it in the way that I was doing. I don't think I'm minimizing it. I disagree with that characterization for a few reasons. I think it's natural when someone dies that we try to understand why. That's why people love murder mystery. That's why people, every time someone dies, they want to know who the perpetrator is. They want to know who their motivations are, because murder is generally something that we see as incredibly heinous. And so understanding what led to that is always important. When I'm not comparing, this is not the right word. What I'm doing is that I'm explaining away how our society led to this moment and this man, because he wasn't murdered in a vacuum. This wasn't a crime of passion. This was an individual who's incredibly troubled, and he decided to go out and murder somebody
Oh, my
for
guy.
their political opinions, their affiliation, maybe because they had mentally ill issues. Who knows? But there's a landscape, and there's a lot of things that lead up to this murder. It's always important to examine these things, because if we don't understand how we got here, then we're going to be doomed to repeat it. It's never, in my opinion, a bad thing to contextualize any world event, provided you contextualize it fully, right? That or at least you try to, because without context, then all that happened was that someone was shot. Context is everything.
Well, to that point, that makes total sense what you're saying, but to me, it didn't come across that way when you voiced that in the video. It seemed like you were trying to highlight the divide between the right and the left, or whoever the instigators of it are. You know what I mean? Like, it didn't seem like you were trying to get to a root of the problem or how we trying to fix it. It's like, like I said before, I mean, what you're saying now, if you had voiced it that way in the video, I wouldn't have had the...
Wait, hold on. What did Abba just say? Because I feel like Abba said exactly that in the video.
Because without context, then all that happened was that someone was shot. Or then we're going to be doomed to repeat it. It's never, in my opinion, a bad thing to contextualize any world event, provided you political opinions or affiliation, maybe because they had mentally ill issues. Who knows? But there's a landscape, and there's a lot of things that lead up to this murder. It's always important to examine these things, because if we don't understand how we got here, then we're going to be doomed to repeat it. It's never, in my opinion, a bad thing to contextualize any world event, provided you contextualize it fully, right? That you, or at least you try to, because without context, then all that happened was that someone was shot. Context is everything.
Well, to that point, that makes total sense what you're saying, but to me, it didn't come across that way when you voiced that in the video. It seemed like you were trying to, highlight the divide between the right and the left, or whoever the instigators of it are. You know what I mean? Like, it didn't seem like you were trying to get to the root of the problem or how we.
Okay, so yeah, that was a bit different than what he was saying in the video, but I mean, so ABBA isn't a political commentator. I don't really know who this guy Stevie Knight is. I feel like if I go to his channel, he's gonna be like a straight up like quasi-centrist MAGA political commentator, social commentator. Probably does a lot of the same type of content that ABBA does, but definitely more political in nature. And to be fair, ABBA used to do a lot of that stuff too, where he would rail on a lot of like left-leaning issues, which is fine. I mean, it's fine if you want to rail on them because a lot of them are stupid, especially when you talk about like the fringe, like trans and Black Lives Matter. And listen, I mean, this is coming from a black guy who my sister is bisexual. Like, I'm not like a fucking homophobe or like a bigot or whatever, but a lot of like the really strong social pushes for things can come across as cringe and performative sometimes, and that's fine. And I literally say that about like Black Lives Matter and stuff like that. Sometimes it's just a bit performative, but I think that this guy Stevie Knight is going to be performative in a completely opposite direction, where he's like, "No, trust me, I'm one of the good ones," and he's just going to be like, full on, like completely like anti black, anti cause, anti like all this other stuff, which is equally as weird as being like super like nationalistic, like pro black, like the black nationalists and stuff, like Umar.
Trying to fix it. It's like, like I said before. I mean, what you're saying now, if you had voiced it that way in the video, I wouldn't have had the mindset that I had in regards to what you said. But in the video, it didn't come across to me like that at all. It felt like.
Well, right now the pervasive narrative, and this is where it comes to the left versus right there. The pervasive narrative that's online, and that's being espoused by some of the most important people in our political, stratosphere, is that violence of a political nature is solely left-wing. Okay, and I remember at about 3 minutes 29 seconds when Matt Walsh is talking in your video, you said that I was interpreting what he's saying. When he's talking about good versus evil, it's time for the righteous to prevail over the forces of evil. You were saying that I was making a left versus right thing, right? But that's just not true.
Hold on, let me make a correction, because you go further on in the video, I recognize that point. I said, hold up.
Damn, should I watch this guy Stevie Knight's video too? Okay. I'll listen to this for a little bit longer, and then I'll watch his video and I'll get his perspective. Once I finish this one.
That's unfair to do so. But I went on and saying this makes the left look bad, it makes the transgenders look bad, it makes everybody affiliated to this look bad, like guilty by association. It's not the right thing to do. It should be a good person evil thing, right? But then I went on a couple other videos of people echoing the same sentiments as far as righteous and good evil. But I did highlight Matt Walsh in that video specifically saying, all right, I see that he is describing the left in this manner, and that should be the move.
Right. But again, at about like 6 to 7 minutes in the video, you kind of do it again where you say that, that's how I'm interpreting a lot of this narrative of good versus evil. But it's not just Matt Walsh. Ben Shapiro said that most of the political violence today is flowing from left-wing movements and ideology. Elon Musk was on Twitter and he said the left is the party of murder. If they won't let us live in peace, then our choice is to fight or die. Alex Jones said the right-wingers are in a war during a live stream. He said that the left has been put a bullseye on Trump, and he put a bullseye on his supporters. President Trump himself, during an interview, let's see here, let me pull up the question. I think it's important for me to get the exact words that he said. On Fox and Friends, he says, we have radicals on the right as well. And he says, I'll tell you how I can see this if you want. I'm going to just read it verbatim. I'll tell you something that's going to get me in trouble, but I couldn't care less. The radicals on the right oftentimes are radical because they don't want to see more crime. The radicals on the left are the problem. So when I'm talking about right versus left, I'm not talking about
Fucking
someone in a
soldier.
vacuum or someone at home. I'm talking about the most important people in our political
True.
discourse, framing most of this
True.
violence.
And that's something that we need to continuously hammer home on the left. When we're talking about political violence, when we're talking about violent rhetoric, we're talking about the president of the United States, the head of the Department of Homeland Security, whatever the fuck Stephen Miller does in the government, because he's like just an insane person, very fucking scary or whatever. We're talking about the president of the United States. We're talking about people who actually have some type of power and control over the things that go on in this country. Whereas when people on the right talk about things that are happening on the left wing, they're talking about like crazies on TikTok and Twitter, like videos that like their kids send them because they're all like 80 years old, so they're not watching them anyway.
I only left. And what you did in the video, and I did appreciate, is that when we said, if you look at the numbers, you know, people got mad because I quoted the ADL, but there's all sorts of things from FBI statistics to different organizations who track terrorist attacks. Most of it comes from religious extremists and then right-wingers. Left-wingers at the bottom of that list, especially over the last 10 years. So I'm not trying to frame this as left versus right. That's the plate that's already been set. Since Charlie Kirk died, the right has not stopped politicizing his death. They haven't stopped using it for fuel for their attacks on the left. And so in that climate, you're asking people to not talk about...
And he agrees. He hasn't started talking yet. I predict he's going to be sweeping, but he hasn't started talking yet. But he agrees. You see him like nod his head and shake his head. He just can't vocalize it. Because if he vocalizes it, it makes it official that he's actually on the other side.
Left versus right, but if the left does it, then just right gets to make the narrative that they're the violent ones, and it's just not true.
Well, my opinion is that both it's not a left and right thing. It's an evil versus good thing. You know what I mean? And that's, I mean, and it's you watching this. I'm expecting that to be that should be the point. You know what I mean? It's like if you're doing that and just fuel to the fire to what you're saying everybody else is doing. Like you're highlighting the hypocrisy of people complaining about what the left does, seriously with the right doing the same thing. You know what I mean? But with that, like I said, with that Matt Walsh clip, like I specified, I definitely could tell you was highlighting the left, but all that shit is fucking wrong.
I agree.
I said that in the video, right? I said that this is not a left versus right thing. It makes everybody look bad. We can focus on the actually making things horrible for everybody, the extremists, the radicals, all that. You know what I mean? That's what my focus is. I feel like that's what the focus should be for everybody.
Yeah, and I did have that noted in some of the things that I like that you did. I did appreciate that you actually said that.
All right.
A lot of people are not saying that. Or they're just
balling out.
entirely. But
damn,
you have to understand, I'm watching this video. When I'm watching the discourse, I'm looking at things in its totality. So when I'm talking about...
What are you talking about? When you say you're watching the video, what video?
I think I was looking at a lot of the political coverage in regards to this. I've been looking at the people who were responding, everyone who's been talking about this, and how the public is talking. If you spend time online, they're not talking about this as like both sides. That's not a lot of discourse. A lot of discourse, especially from the right, is that they're just saying essentially the left is the violent party. Go check out those comment sections. Go check out a lot of discourse from the big...
That's what's going to happen every time that happens. Every time someone from the left does something crazy, they're going to highlight the left. When the right comes, when the right does something, they're going to highlight the fucking right. It just that comes with the territory.
Right. But it should be noted that we should correct those narratives and say that these are not one-sided things. If you watched our video, we didn't say violence is only right wing. We said there's plenty of people who murder people on the left, and we said that. But the dominant narrative right now is that left-wingers are the violent ones, and they're obviously, especially with the most recent murder, it makes sense that it's going to be the dominant narrative. But it's important to not let those lies be able to be spread, and to say, actually, guys, you're wrong. In fact, this year there's been other people who've been killed. You said we were minimizing his death by bringing up these other murders, but those deaths are part of this discussion. The same thing that led to those people being killed is the exact same thing that led to Charlie Kirk being killed. And it's important to know that, because if we don't understand that, then all this is just going to happen again. You said it was different in your video because Charlie Kirk died on camera and nobody was supposed to see that. Remember you saying that? Yeah. Right. To me, I understand that the fact that he died on camera makes it much more graphic, much more in your face. But at the end of the day, murder is murder. Dying is dying. Someone is victimized.
But it's the effect that it has on society. It's not the same. In a vacuum, it's the same. But if people are able to see that video until the end of time now,
Sure.
Right, they're able to see that man go out the way that he did, and knowing up until this, I can't compare someone else that had the amount of influence Kirk had. You know what I mean? And to
I mean, I guess maybe in our lifetime that has been like publicly executed. I would definitely grant Charlie Kirk that. Like Charlie Kirk was a really big deal. Like I grew up on Charlie Kirk and Ben Shapiro. Like a lot of my right wing leanings and views on like family and like manhood come from like the Charlie Kirk like right wing sphere. So yeah, no, 100%. I mean, there is something there that is not going to be easily replaced. And even if his wife is taking over Turning Point, I don't think that she's going to be able to ever rally that part of the conservative base again. Unfortunately. Dude, this Wu-Lang sucks. He's using a 3-thing burst, and I still can't even fight against him. I'm pissed. Wait, hold on. What's going on with my audio?
I meant to do that. Okay, maybe I didn't.
If Kirk's not killed on camera, is this situation more or less tragic?
It's less tragic.
So dying on
backfill
camera
game.
makes a murder worse?
No, not the murder worse, but the effect that has on the people is worse because everybody can see it.
Sure, I get that.
It's different than watching the news reports when you hear about somebody that got something happen to them protest as opposed to actually seeing it. This people are going to be on with this.
Right.
They're going to have this little kids saw this. There's nowhere near the same as anybody else.
That's the effect that it has on you as an individual. But yeah, the tragedy is the same. The tragedy remains.
Disagree with
Okay, well, yeah, we're definitely going to disagree. If my father dies on camera or doesn't die on camera, at the end of the day, he died. Somebody took my person away from me.
So you don't think the fact that everybody can see your father die and have that accessible 24/7 on social media is not going to make the situation any different than having him die?
No, it makes it different. It makes it different. But from a moral standpoint, it's the exact same. There's no difference in morality. It's just more shocking.
Morality is a different conversation. I'm talking about tragedy. Morality is the same. I'm talking about the effects it's having on society.
Yeah, but if I'm talking about other murders, I'm talking about other murders, I'm talking about the moral aspect of it. I don't really care. Personally, I don't care. I don't care whether it happens in front of 100 people, 10 people, a school. It doesn't really matter to me. Murder is murder. People dying politically, all political violence to me that happens for political reasons are equally bad, whether they happen. That's how I feel about it. You might disagree with that, but
and I'd imagine a lot are going to disagree with that perspective as well, man.
Yeah.
The fact that you can see it, you can hear about somebody that died by the guillotine, but they're actually seeing it, it's going to be totally different. And with kids, college campus, in front of his babies, in front of his wife, the whole world, see that, bro, it's entirely different.
It's different in the impact.
They keep repeating this. They keep saying in front of his kids, in front of his wife. I mean, his wife, unless she was watching live, she chose to watch the video. And that sounds like really disconnected and very cold and whatever. But I mean, at the end of the day, it is the truth. They were not there in the crowd. They keep trying to say that they were there in the crowd because they want to build on this impact of the family losing their father, which, like, the family losing their father is already tragic enough. It really disgusts me that they're trying to build on that tragedy just for their own, like, personal gain and to kind of, like, rub this into like the American culture more so than it already is, because like I said, Charlie Kirk is a big guy. Like he's a big deal for, especially for people my age. Like we all know who Charlie Kirk is. We've all grown up watching Charlie Kirk, and regardless of whether or not you like him or disagree with him. I personally disagree with him on a lot of things. You know him and you respect his hustle and you respect his work ethic.
That it has on the viewer. But it's not different. Yeah, but
that's my whole point, and that's why it's more tragic.
But that doesn't mean that we can't contextualize it with those other murders. You say it's not comparable, but I disagree. They died for the same reason. They died for the exact same reason.
If you had related that way trying to bring up the similarities and how you conveyed it just now, it would make more sense. But that's not at all how you conveyed it in the video. It came from, you know, a leftist bias type of perspective from my end that
Leftist bias, which basically means you weren't sucking Trump's dick the entire time that you were talking in the video.
you were trying to minimize it by bringing up other similarities. You didn't bring up you didn't bring anything up about it being moral or same morally. You were just saying to summarize it, you know, Kirk died, everybody else died, and this happens with political violence.
Yes, because what I'm getting at is not how he died, what I'm or like in front of who that he died. What I'm focused on is why was he killed. I don't personally care that he was killed on a live stream or a pre-recorded video or on a yacht.
Do you think you're the anomaly with that perspective?
No.
You think that most people don't care that he died online?
I think that's the reason why.
Most people don't care. Yeah.
But that's not why they care.
Yeah, they care. They care because a guy was shot for doing politics. As much as again, as much as I disagree with Charlie Kirk, this is such a stupid premise. They don't care that the video is live streamed. I mean, obviously, his family will care, and if somebody decides to like show his kids like his father's murder one day, which they probably never will because they'll grow up in really nice schools, and they most likely won't have to deal with like absolute psychopaths like public school kids have to deal with. It's just a completely different situation. Like you're asking two completely different things. This Roadhog. It's getting on my damn nerves.
Why they care. You don't care about this topic because of the fact that
what I'm asking you is, you say you don't care that he died on live stream. I'm asking you, do you think most people?
But yeah, like I was saying before we continue, all political violence is wrong. I think just dealing with the political violence and like dealing with the reality that this is where we are in our political environment. Because most people don't understand that we've been here for the last 10 years, right? Like, Donald Trump pardoned 600 violent offenders from January 6th. Like, this is just where we are. And everyone that voted for him in 2024 voted to support political violence because, again, that's just where we are. Like, a police officer killed himself after January 6th. Like, obviously, I'm not going to sit there and I'm not going to... pin all of that on them. Oh, hold up. Let's go. Fuck you, Mauga. Let the Kitsune guide you. Hold on. Come on. Okay. Well, I still only have my first level perk. Okay, what was I saying? I was talking about how I don't even remember. I remember I was so turned up. I lost it all. So we're just gonna play ABBA and preach. Or ABBA.
No, most people are focused on the fact that he was killed for political reasons. That's what people care about. No one's outraged by this whole thing because it happened on camera. People are outraged.
I'm just saying that makes it worse because of that.
Sure, but that's in the background. That's not that important. What's really important is that he was killed for political reasons. That's the focus. That's not just a little bit. That's 99% of the focus. None of the coverage that we've been seeing lately is because, like, can you believe that people die on camera? Nobody's talking about that. Everyone's talking about.
Come on, bro. That's not my argument, though. I'm not saying that it's only important because it happened on camera. I'm saying that it's more tragic. It's worse than everything else that's happened thus far because it happened the way that it did.
Okay, yeah, I think we'll agree to disagree. I don't think someone dying on camera makes it worse. I think a tragedy, death is death, murder is murder. If you are murdered by somebody on camera in front of a body so nobody sees it, yeah.
No. Somebody just dies in their sleep naturally compared to somebody being
Team kill.
cut up in body.
I didn't get any of those bodies.
Well, that's not the same. That's not the same. The reason why they died. No. Death is death, sure. But murder and death is not the same thing. You dying of old age is not the same thing as being assassinated.
You get shot in the head by somebody, or you get cut up into multiple pieces on camera.
Sure.
You think the murder is murder?
No, because what happened after to my body and how the person extended that murder is going to make it worse.
So, you don't think what you're saying is equivalent to me, Kurt getting shot on camera? It's the same thing.
Yeah. Well, I think we just disagree from it. But again, I don't think that's the focus. I don't think that's a reason.
But that was my focus, though. That was
sure.
my focus when I felt like you were minimizing it, bro, because that's a big reason why Kirk's death had the impact it had. It had to reach because you could actually see it.
Okay, so let me say I agree with you. You know, let's do a different exercise. Let's say I agree with you. These are different to a degree. So what's your point? We shouldn't contextualize his murder?
Well, in your video, it didn't feel like you were contextualizing it. If I felt personally that you contextualized it trying to get to the root of the problem, then we wouldn't be here today. But I feel like your intent was to minimize Kirk's death by bringing up all these things that happened.
I would argue that you are minimizing his death by not contextualizing it properly. If you don't talk about why something happened and how we got here, then all you're doing is just describing a tragedy. Yes, but if you're going to counter my narrative and say that I'm wrong for contextualizing it the way that I did, or you don't like the way I contextualized it.
You're saying you're contextualizing it now. When I watched it, I didn't think you were contextualizing it.
Okay. That's fair. I disagree with that. I think I talked about how we got here. I definitely said that in the video. I talked about the fact that there's been a string of political violence over the last 10 years, and that this is not a shocking outcome. Kirk being assassinated is not the craziest thing. There's a reason why he had security. There's a reason why I think he was wearing a bulletproof vest. There's been threats on these people. Yeah. So we have to take that into consideration, understand that this is not something that happened that is out of this world. Even Kirk himself realizes this is a possibility. There's a reason why everyone who does these... But that's what I was talking about. That's what I was talking about, for sure.
Well, I mean, I didn't receive that on mine. I felt like you were contextualizing it, and you know, we're on the same wave as far as, you know, this is what happens when, you know, politics get off the rails. But in the video, like I said, I thought that you were just minimizing it by comparing it to everything else. I didn't feel like there was any contextualizing there, so just got to agree to disagree.
Yeah.
And I've watched the video probably 3 more times because, you know, we're having this conversation today, man, and I didn't get it all that you were contextualizing it.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't say that I was saying those words exactly contextualizing it, but I think that is what I was doing. But again, we could agree to disagree. So those were, I think, your first 2 disagreements that you had with me. Yeah, you could definitely let me know some other ones that you had for sure.
And I mean, I just get to the meat and the potatoes now, man, because do you feel like you manufactured a narrative on Kirk by showing those snips of him in your video?
Yeah, okay, we can address that because I did have that in my notes as well. I think around
here we go. We're getting to the good stuff.
Context, right?
Not even take them out of context. You put your context on it because we let it play. I put the additional.
Damn, not
okay. So just for the viewer, there's a
it.
clip that we played, maybe 15 seconds of Kirk on a Jubilee panel. He's talking to somebody. This is a panel about Christians versus, or is it right wingers versus lefties? I don't remember what it was.
I don't know, but it was about abortion.
Okay, it was about abortion, right? And Kirk is a very Christian, self-proclaimed Christian. You know, everybody knows this about him. So in that clip, the woman is asking him a hypothetical where he says, if your 10-year-old daughter was raped, okay, would you force her to keep the child? Is that a fair assessment of the clip?
Yeah.
And then Kirk says yes.
You said yes, the baby will have the baby, or my girl will have the
okay,
child.
And then you said that we were kind of dishonest with how we did that we clipped him out of context, and then we put our own context, right?
No, I'm not saying you put your own context. You didn't put the entire context.
Okay.
Like you said,
Hold on, because I'm pretty sure that's exactly what he just said.
On a Jubilee panel, he's talking to somebody. This is a panel about. So those were, I think, your first 2 disagreements that you had with me. Yeah, you can definitely let me know some other ones that you had for sure.
And I mean, I just get to the meat and the potatoes now, man, because do you feel like you manufactured a narrative on Kirk by showing those snips of him in your video?
Yeah, okay, we can address that because I did have that in my notes as well. I think around like the 20-minute mark, you said I took him out of context, right?
Not even take them out of context. You put your context on it because we let it play. I put the additional clips on it.
Okay, so just for the viewer, there's a clip that we played, maybe 15 seconds of Kirk on a Jubilee panel. He's talking to somebody. This is a panel about Christians versus or is it right wingers versus lefties? I don't remember what it was.
I don't know, but it was about abortion.
Okay, it was about abortion, right?
Well,
And,
that one, you put three videos.
and Kirk is a a very Christian, self-proclaimed Christian. Everybody knows this about him. So in that clip, the woman is asking him a hypothetical where he says, "If your 10-year-old daughter was raped, okay, would you force her to keep the child?" Is that a fair assessment of the clip?
Yeah.
And then Kirk says yes.
He said yes. The baby would have the baby, or my girl would have the.
Okay,
child.
and then you said that we were kind of dishonest with how we did that. That we clipped him out of context, and then we put our own context, right?
No, I'm not saying you put your own context. You didn't put the entire context.
Okay.
Like you said, you led into it by saying,
So yeah, he literally said
you said,
exactly that. He
I'm not going to recite you verbatim, but it was essentially, I think that Kirk has said some disgusting things as well.
Yes.
And you played.
So he literally said in the beginning, you didn't take him out of context, you put your own context. And then when he ran down the entire line of dialogue, like you do with most Charlie Kirk supporters, where it's like, okay, I think this guy was a really bad guy. Why do you think he was a really bad guy? Because he said that these four black women didn't have enough brain processing power to get the positions that they were in. And they say, oh, no, he was just talking about DEI. And it's like, well, as a black man in corporate America, the very idea of DEI is just completely nonsensical because I have to compete for jobs just like everyone else in the fucking marketplace at my specific company in corporate America. It just doesn't make any sense. It's completely asinine how they get to these conclusions, and really, you just seen it get pulled out, right? You're taking him out of context because he was talking about how if he had a 10-year-old daughter and she was um, assaulted, that he would force her to keep the baby. And when, as a normal human being, you say that is absolutely ghoulish and unacceptable on almost every single like personal and societal level that you can possibly think of, um, normal people have no choice but to agree with it. So they just look crazy once they have to be confronted with these things that Charlie Kirk actually thought and agreed with.
Play that clip. Yeah, so let's just talk about that first clip because I remember you taking that first clip and being really shocked. I think, let me just see here, because I did have that in my notes here. Oh yeah, you said that. You said that was really surprising that you were shocked coming from me. You called me the king of receipts.
Yeah.
But yes, so that is.
Real shit, 'cause I rely, not rely, but I know when you giving somebody shit, you gonna have.
Okay, so how do you feel I took that clip out of context?
Because when I see that it's trying to paint Kirk as a monster because he's going to force his 10-year-old daughter to have a child.
Right, but as somebody who's anti-abortion, that's his stance. He will force his daughter to have the child because he feels as though life is precious or whatever it is, and he sees the fetus as a life. So he's like, my daughter will have that baby. That's his take.
Yeah, but if you let the rest of the video play, I mean, it's subjective. Everybody's going to feel differently watching that, but if you just have that short video, it makes it seem like he's a monster. I don't care. Anti-abortion. She having a baby. It could be for anything because my way or the highway or whatever the case may be, bro. Everybody's not informed on Kirk and his reasonings why. And if I think that you let...
We all know his reasoning why. He thinks that abortion is a sin. He thinks that abortion is murder. And just like the rest of the right wing, because they all think, or at least all of the pro-life movement, they all think the exact same thing, that having an abortion is tantamount to committing murder. They would, if they could, put these women in jail because they are committing murder. Listen to the way that they talk about it. Listen to the words that they say. Stop creating narratives. Stop sweeping for these people and just admit that they think that abortion is murder and they want to outlaw it in all 50 states.
The video play and he gives you his reasonings why people would understand it. They may not agree with it, but they'll understand it and they'll take a blow away from how they're initially feeling about him being a monster.
Well, they'll see him still as a monster because no matter how much you explain it.
I will never understand. I'm the father of a 13-year-old daughter. If my 13-year-old was raped, I'm never going to understand someone telling me, looking me dead in the face and telling me that my daughter has to carry that baby to term. Never going to understand that. Sorry. Good luck. You can try it if you want to.
From a religious standpoint.
But that's your opinion.
But that was my whole point. Do you remember what the greater point of that whole section was? That section was about the fact that some people view him as a monster, including me. I don't like the guy. I didn't think his politics were good. That's my personal opinion. I think I'm free to say that. And I played clips that, to me, showcase his stances on things that I just don't agree with and I think are disgusting. Forcing your 10-year-old daughter to have a baby, okay, that after she was raped, okay, you could say it's great for religious reasons. You could give whatever justification you want. There's nothing in there that took him out of context. His stance was...
It is, because if you having that short snippet, people are not going to know why he's doing it. They're just going to know he's doing it. If he gives justification of why, and he gave very clear reasons of why, that's going to make some people look at it different. You're putting this. You know what I mean? Like, it's like showing a video of somebody shooting somebody in the head, but just randomly, but you figure out that they like killed my mom, and then
I'm sorry, I muted myself because I'm over here eating Doritos. I just screamed because you literally said you're taking them out of context. What is the context? I'm so happy that Abba. Hold on, I can rewind back. See Abba's face again.
They're gonna know he's doing it. If he gives justification of why, and he gave very clear reasons of why, that's going to make some people look at it different. You're putting this. You know what I mean? Like, it's like showing a video of somebody shooting somebody in the head, but just randomly. But you figure out that they like killed my mom, and then it makes sense.
No, because the people who are following this, or people who are tuning into this stuff, know that Charlie...
This. You know what I mean? Like, it's like showing a video. He gave very clear reasons of why, that's going to make some people look at it different. You're putting this. You know what I mean? Like, it's like showing a video of somebody shooting somebody in the head, but
he's trying his hardest.
Okay,
my mom, and then it makes sense.
No, because
this guy is just this guy is just MAGA to the core, and he's trying his hardest to stay on program for the MAGA guys. And honestly, I respect it. It's very goofy. It's extremely goofy to sit here and try to defend this point. And it's the one thing that, for me, Christians will always lose out on. Like I said earlier, I have a 13-year-old daughter. If something were to happen to her like this, nobody is forcing her to have that baby. Period. Point blank. You can try if you want to, but I guarantee it's not going to end up well for you. Okay?
People who are following this, or people who are even tuning into this stuff, know that Charlie is a political speaker who's incredibly Christian. So
you're making that assumption, though, bro. Like, you're making that assumption because now, since
someone says, I'm anti-abortion, I'm a Christian, we know why you don't want an abortion to happen.
In that clip you put, he didn't say he was Christian, though. There are so many people that are just now learning about Kirk.
I need to mute myself because I'm eating Doritos.
There's so many people that didn't know before.
Can
you put that narrative out.
Can I ask you?
This is a big reason why so many people don't like Kirk, because they get some of these short reels taken out of context.
But they're not out of context. It's not a context.
It is not.
No, it's not. It's not, Stevie. If someone says, I'm anti-abortion, I'm a Christian, we know why you don't want an abortion to happen.
In that clip you put, he didn't say he was Christian, though. He just said, she just gave an example, and he said, no, she can have a baby. He didn't say he was Christian.
This guy was all over the world, all over the news, and he was constantly
making an assumption.
No, I'm not making an assumption. Everybody who saw that clip of him getting murdered knew he was a political speaker who's Christian. There's not a person who didn't see that clip, who didn't see the news reports, who didn't know what he was. You're acting like I took an obscure person.
That's not true. That's not true. You can't speak for everybody in the world, dog.
That's not out of context, boss. That's
I
not
know
out of
personally
context.
because I talk to people now that had no idea who the fuck Kirk was. Now they see.
Sorry, muted again. This can't be from tonight. His funeral was just the other day. There was like 90,000 people, 100,000 people. They've been talking about how it's a bigger funeral than MLK and JFK. There's no way that he's still sitting here coming up with this thing about how nobody knew who he was. But again, Trump was just on television today talking about how what the system or like the organization or the whatever he was calling the people who were trying to say that Tylenol is safe for pregnant women, whatever. So like Trump is still blaming like secret deep states and all of this, even though he's in total control of pretty much everything and he's appointed all of his people that he wants. And Congress has basically said, hey, you can go ahead and make whatever laws you want now that we have a majority. Like, and he's still blaming the deep state and like the establishment or whatever. So it's just the MAGA shit. It is just the MAGA wave. That's all it is. That is all it is.
Him on his timeline going, and they don't know who the fuck he is. That's false, bro.
He has the very standard cookie cutter Christian view on it. There's nothing.
Regardless, you're making the assumption that people know, dog, and that's a dangerous game. You got to give them.
That's not an assumption. That's not an assumption, boss. I'm sorry. Anybody who's following this knows he's a Christian political speaker. I'm sorry, but I'm just not buying that. In fact, everyone's been introducing him as such, so we know why he does not like abortion. I don't need to see 5 minutes.
You know, and a lot of people do know. Everybody doesn't know, dog. And you got to be fair and give the reason why. You got to give the justification why. If you just say he's doing this, they go, oh, he's a motherfucker because he's gonna force a 10-year-old to have a fucking daughter. But if you go let the shit play and he gives the fucking girl the business of why he made her look stupid. To me, it made her look.
Yeah, but that's because you're probably anti-abortion. Am I right?
No, I don't know. I could care less. I respect his.
I don't know.
I'm not pro. I'm not
I
anti.
don't know. I'm not pro. I'm not anti.
I respect it because he's standing on.
I don't know. I don't know. I don't
My
have
point
any
still
opinion.
100% stands. At the end of the day, if you were going to force a 10-year-old to have a baby because you believe abortion is wrong, it's okay for people to say you're a disgusting person, and other people can agree with your stance and say you're cool. My entire point was
that wasn't my argument. My argument was you took about the context. People can say what they want to say.
But okay.
About the context, you're manufacturing a narrative.
I'm not manufacturing a narrative. The narrative was very clear. He's a Christian man. He's against abortion. Super basic.
You didn't have Christian in that clip. True.
I didn't have to because everyone knows who he is. But
everybody does not know.
True. Okay, we'll agree to disagree. We'll agree to disagree. But I think that's not taking someone out of context. If someone says I'm a Muslim, if someone says I'm a Muslim and I'm a no. I think you're reaching. I think you're definitely reaching. But it's okay.
How am I reaching?
You're reaching.
How am I reaching?
He's the most viral person right now.
Narrative, bro. The girl, he said, I'm going to force the 10-year-old to have a fucking baby. That's it.
No.
That's all everybody going to see. There's no more context. You didn't give a motherfucker the opportunity to explain why.
No. He's the most viral person in the world. People know he's a political commentator. They know he's Christian. I'm not buying that, but we'll agree to disagree. That's not taking someone out of context. If you're not an unknown person, we know where you're standing. We know what you're there for. But we'll agree to disagree. This is another point you made, and this is one I thought was crazy. You played the other clips of Kirk. You kind of said there's nothing bad about this when he said he wanted Biden to be executed or given the death penalty. You don't think that people should hate somebody like that, or some people might hate somebody for that reason?
So what do we think he's going to say? Do we think he's just going to shrug it off and be like, oh, it's not that big of a deal? Joe Biden lied and Hunter Biden's laptop and penis, crack cocaine, and hookers.
For saying violent things like that?
Yeah, that's their opinion.
Okay, so what's the problem with my stance in this whole thing? You were saying, what did Kirk say that's
that video wasn't, that video, to me, that video wasn't, personally for me, that wasn't as important. It didn't get my attention as much as the first two, right? It's a bunch of motherfuckers that don't like presidents for whatever the reason is.
Out of his face.
Like, the first person to say
it was like,
the president die. Everybody want to see Trump die. They deserve to die. The people want to. They deserve to fucking be killed because they hate Trump. Want to see him dead.
But that's my whole point. My point is, people should be allowed after Charlie Kirk's death to say, I didn't like the guy. This is
But
why.
that's not what I said though. I never argued your reason to feel how you feel. I said I was only focused on the fact that you're manufacturing a narrative.
Well, no. In the clip you said, oh, these are the hateable clips. I don't see it. That's what you said.
Yeah.
But that's my whole point. You're taking it from your perspective because you don't think those opinions are that crazy, right? But
I'm crazy, but I'm not diminishing their feelings about it. They can hate it. I don't agree, but I'm not saying they're wrong and hating it.
Okay.
I never said
Okay,
that.
another point that you made. I played a second clip, and this is probably one of the wilder clips. A young man goes up to Charlie Kirk during that debate, and he says to him, hey, what do you think about school lunches for kids? And Charlie laughs him. He says, there's no starvation in America. We have an obesity problem. Nobody here is going without food. And then you agreed with him. You said there's no starvation in America. Go get food stamps. You can get food at churches. There's no reason to starve. Do you remember that?
Yeah, there's no reason to starve in America. It's like 1% of households have like I guess technically a hunger issue, bro. But people are not starving to death in America, bro. Motherfuckers are fat as hell.
Okay.
That's a fact.
And see, this is the problem I have with like people who are pro-life, and not you specifically, but people like Charlie Kirk. They're so obsessed with keeping fetuses alive, they pretend it's like this big virtue. And then when a child is born, they're like, fuck you, your parents take care of you. It's actually probably one of the most hypocritical, and this is why I think Charlie Kirk is probably a shitty person to be, is that he spent all this time being anti-abortion, but when it comes to every government initiative that's meant to protect kids and keep them good, he was always against it. And to me, it's like, what's the fucking point of keeping this fetus alive if when it comes out, you're like, yo, fuck you, kid. And that's what he did. He said that guy was...
He said, fuck you, kid?
No, he didn't, but he might as well have when he's constantly championing everything that's anti-public sector, or sorry, government involved taking care of kids. Like, even you saying there's no starvation is like so disingenuous. If you just Google it, there's like so many kids today here in America, you could look it up the statistics, that have malnutrition, that have food scarcity, that have all these problems. It stunts their growth. It fucks them up in terms of their academic success. And for you guys to sit there and think that food lunches for kids is a crazy idea and parents should take care of them. Some parents are dog shit. Some parents don't take care of their kids. And so that's why these school lunches happen, so that kids who go to school get a meal. But people like Charlie Kirk, and then you did the same thing, are like, oh, the parents take care of it. That's fucking stupid. And I'm like, do you guys even Google this stuff? Do you guys even look into it? But you speak confidently against this stuff that's hurting hundreds and thousands of kids. And I'm like, I don't get it.
I'll ask you a question. Which one is higher, the amount of abortions in America or the amount of starving children in America?
Jesus fucking Christ.
The amount of starving kids in America.
How fucking stupid.
That's cap? Did you Google it? Did you Google it?
I don't need to Google it.
You don't need facts. But you know what? Facts don't care about how you feel about it. I need you to Google it.
Okay.
Go Google.
Somebody Google it in the chat.
Okay.
But I'm not. Let me figure out the best way to articulate this, because you have this anger towards Kirk and me and whomever else because we don't support government, not even support government assistance. We're saying the parents should do it, but in the reality of the problem, bro, there's so many different ways that people can eat outside of their parents. There's, bro, food stamps, churches, charities, bro. Like, there's no reason for somebody to starve.
So do you want a 7-year-old or 8-year-old to go to get food stamps or go to church and get food?
Their parents should go.
What if the parent doesn't want to go? What if their parent doesn't want to go?
You saw in the video I said it, bro. I'll be jealous when I see the amount of money these people have on food stamps, bro. They be running these EBTs up $400, $500, $600, bro. Like, there's no excuse for somebody to be broke or to be hungry. Unless they got, like, they're picky, they're bougie about what the fuck they want to put in their body, dog. But beggars can't be choosers, bro. Like, you can't have no filet mignon when you can't afford it, dog.
Okay,
we live in a capitalistic country, dog. It is what it is.
Let's take 2 steps back, all right? Let's take 2 steps back. Do you agree with there's a lot of bad parents out there?
Absolutely.
Do you know that there's a lot... Hold on. Do you agree that there's a lot of parents who neglect those children?
Yeah.
Okay, so do you think that those kids should suffer because they have bad parents?
No.
Okay,
I don't think they should, but bad shit happens.
So wait, you're just gonna let kids suffer when the...
No, I'm not gonna let them, bro, because there's other avenues. Like, if they're going to school, this is a hypothetical.
Well, no, hold on. What did you? If they're going to school, what? If they're going to school, they can get a free lunch there.
If they're going to school, I'm assuming that teachers are aware. They can see someone losing weight.
But that's what the program's for, Stevie. That's what I'm saying. The program is meant to give kids lunches at school.
No, that's not where I'm going with it. I'm talking about like teachers making calls to get, you know, the correct parties involved to address a child, to find a potential food for them, so they can take advantage of the surplus of food that is available for people in these situations. Like the homeless don't go hungry, bro. They can go get a meal if they want to get a meal.
You're comparing children to homeless. Like, what are we talking about? See, I want y'all to just think about it. So you know there's shitty parents out there, okay? And you want teachers to call the shitty parents to be like, hey, be better parents. Or you want to call child services? You want to call child services? You want to put them in foster care?
It may be better than having the shooty ass parents.
Have you looked into foster care, Stevie? Have you Googled foster care?
But you're describing these parents as ain't shit, bro. Like it is bad shit happens.
I know. I cover them. I cover them every day. There's a lot of ain't shit parents. There's a lot of ain't shit. You cover them. How many videos have you done about baby mamas? How many videos have you done about baby mamas and dog shit parents? If I go to your channel right now, I'll find dozens, hundreds of videos. So you want to call